last item that we haven't talked about in your packet is this one sheet form, change order form for Veterans Park. We've talked about this a couple times. The first item on the change order is to remove the batting cages and the bullpen from the line item scope of work, which saves Union Township $30,000 on that contract. That's the first item. The second item is to establish a new contract completion date of July 15th, 2023. From what I can gather from the original contract documents, they had 90 days to complete the work from 2021, which has long since passed. Chuck and I have had some back and forth regarding the best course of action to prompt them to complete this work, and by establishing a new completion date. I think that's in the township's best interest. I've spoken to Plavchek, not recently, but probably a week or 2 weeks ago. He had indicated to me at that time he has 2 or 3 weeks worth of work left to do. So
what about the easement for the owner?
that's the last item. That's item number 3 on this. We've talked about some additional fencing and some additional buffering along that property that's owned by Mr. Schaff. I think generally speaking, I don't want to speak for the board obviously, but generally speaking, I think we're in agreement that we should be doing something there and then pursuing a permanent easement from that gentleman. So the question becomes, does the township want to do that work themselves, or would you like Bankson to include in this change order a directive to our contractor to go ahead and install the additional fencing? And
Do we have a proposal from the contractor?
I haven't spoken to him directly about it. No.
All right, so I think
It's approximately 200 feet of fence.
All right, I understand that, but we should have an easement with the owner, setting forth what we're going to do.
Well, everything's on our property, Dennis. All the proposed fences would be
On our property.
on property that's owned by the
So
township.
so we move the infield in.
No.
No, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what we talked about at the last meeting was installing approximately 100 feet in each direction so that we completely isolate Mr. Schaff's property. And
Is that fence could be on our property?
it stays on the Union Township side of the boundary, and it just
So we,
is
but
installed
before,
to,
but before it wasn't part of the outfield on his property?
yes.
So we're going to remediate his property.
Kind of wings where he can see physical, right? So the fence isn't going the whole.
No, but it's my understanding we went on his property and did some work, correct?
That's right, yes.
Have we remediated the work that we did before on that?
No, we have a signed easement from Mr. Schaff that states that we can go on his property. The problem is it's terminable at any time in the future, which was the
And now part of the.
bugaboo when we talked about this last time.
So is the park on his property or not on his property?
Yes,
Yes.
a portion of
It
left
is, and
field
they
is.
wanted-
That's what I'm
They
asking,
wanted a
is-
full
What he's
size
asking
ball field,
for
they
is
had to.
fence, not on
There's
his
about 15
property,
feet
but
that extends
in
2
the-
feet on each
So
side.
that's,
Correct.
so part of the fence, part of the outfield is on his property.
Yes,
So we need to put the fence on our property,
right.
correct? So are we responsible to him to go and remediate any of that outfield on his property?
Chuck and I met with him and he was in agreement to considering a new easement after we put the fencing in to totally isolate his property. He's not interested, Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's not interested in any other work on his property.
All right, so
He just wants to make sure that nobody can get up there and watch baseball games from left
people
field.
on the
And
slope.
I
Sitting there
understand, but
watching
you know,
the
the thing about it is, if I have nothing in writing, saying he's agreeable to that, you know what I'm saying?
well, that's what I'm saying. We need to do this and then approach him with a
Okay.
permanent
He
easement.
has been emailing the township asking what the outcome
Correct.
of your conversation has been. That he's awaiting for the township's response to what he agreed to.
So what I'm saying is, okay, we put the fence up, but we need to have finalization of this whole
I
process.
completely agree,
I
but
don't
I
wanna
think
be
this
like
is the
Mr.
first step.
Who is it, Mr. Stanis, who was the guy that, Delisha?
Yeah.
Nick.
Delisha, where we didn't have any
Nick
other.
Delicious.
Nick.
So, you know, I just don't wanna be opened like that before, exposed like that before. Okay.
So generally my question is, do we want to, if we're gonna put those fences in, do we want to include it in Plavchek's scope of work, or do we want to handle that ourselves?
I think, Steve, you don't have enough people working it.
Well, I know you're gonna have it, they would be able to try to get that all done, I think you're better off to have him do it while he's there.
So you're gonna give direction to the engineer to do what's necessary about the fence, correct?
I don't
Yeah,
think
that's,
you have
that's
to
in
do it.
the, when it's in the thing, the third change orders, that is the third change order.
Okay.
Would you prefer to wait on that until we've drawn up an easement agreement that we can do
Why don't you-
both simultaneously?
You just said, is a precondition of him doing something, he wants the fence up first, that's what you said.
He wants proof that we are going to follow through.
Well, that's what I'm
on
saying,
we promised.
you want, the precondition is the fence going up.
And he's been really reasonable and stuff like that. He just doesn't, he's had a history in the past of not getting what he promised, and he,
Okay, so do you wanna approve those change orders?
yeah, that's the motion. So, do we have a motion to, approve these three change orders that TJ just discussed, to Veterans Park?
I'll make that motion.
Excuse me, Jeff. TJ,
Yes,
Conscious gonna be able to reduce total cost out there
that's correct.
by elimination of batting cage and bullpen,
That's right.
by how much?
$30,000.
And then add a little bit for the fence.
And we'll add a little bit back in.
And then with the 30,000 reduction, that total project cost out there so far would be in the vicinity of what, 320,000?
Yeah, I don't have the most recent pay estimate in front of me, but yes.
That'd be about
About
It's
right.
approximately $370,000 total project cost, yeah.
I thought it would be more than that.
No, no, no.
By doing what we're doing here, we're righting the wrong of not co-signing that easement agreement originally and getting it recorded. So I think we need to do something to permanently resolve this and make sure that, you know, somebody can't come back to the township in the future and say, you put this up on my land and I'm gonna terminate the easement. We can't have an agreement that's terminable at will.
So you like said, somewhat hesitant about the fence, but that makes it fine, makes more, that would facilitate the process for him, then I suggest we do the three change orders.
I think we need to do that and then approach him with a permanent easement that's final.
So I hear a resident in the audience that's questioning, does that change order for the fencing have a cost attached?
Yes, it would.
He's questioning how this board can approve a change order
Well,
without a cost.
If you'd like, I can speak to Plotcheck tomorrow and get a cost, and we can
I think we
do
just-
this at June 6th.
I just, what, the cost of the fence would be what would you guess?
I mean, we could do it no more
let's-
than,
What would you guess the fence would
Say
be?
$5,000, who the hell?
What would you guess?
I don't know, how much does an 8-foot chain link fence cost per foot? It's 200 feet, so
Here's what,
I don't know.
here's what to do. Let's adopt the two change orders, and let's leave the fence off there. So let's make the motion to adopt those two change orders minus the fence.
that's the original motion.
Okay?
that's fine, yeah, I'll contact
We're
Plotcheck to
not
get
done.
prices.
Let's do this one motion right now.
Okay, so, motion to approve the two change,
Except for the motion for the change orders minus the direction about the fence.
Okay. Do we have a motion? That was Mr. Wilson, would you like to present that?
I'll go with that part.
Okay. Any seconds?
Second issue.
All in favor?
So
Any
since
opposed? Unanimous.
it's still on the agenda, why don't you make a motion to authorize the township engineer